Hello everyone, my name is Hannah. Welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be my February TBR. So I have some big reading plans for February. I know it is the shortest month of the year, but that is not going to stop me from reading a bunch of good books. I am planning on participating in Romantasy-a-thon or the Romantasy Readathon. I'm not sure exactly what the name is, Romantasy Readathon, which is a fantasy romance readathon. And that just sounds like the perfect readathon for me and my reading mood right now, which is to read fantasy romances. So I'm very excited to participate in that. And then I'm also going to be doing a 24-hour readathon with some of my best friends this month. So I have some big plans. I will say I have a list here of 28 books that I would like to try to read in February. To read 28 books in 28 days, I think would just be like a really fun challenge. However, realistically, am I going to get to all of these? Probably not. But I have 10 that are my like top priorities that I am making an intention to read them this month. So yeah, 28 books is maybe a bit ambitious, but I've got 10 books here that I am for sure going to make a conscious effort to get to this month. So first and foremost, we are going to talk about my rereads, the first one being House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I am so excited to read this one. I'll be reading it for my read-along with my friend Christina over at Christina's Chapters. We've been doing a Sarah J. Maas read-along, reading every book that Sarah J. Maas has ever published, and this is the final book in that read-along. I am so excited to reread this one. I haven't reread it since it came out, so I'm really excited to reread it and to tab everything and annotate everything, knowing what I know now, and to change my tabs from the super neon ones. But yeah, I cannot wait to get to this one and to discuss it with Christina and everybody at our final live show, and I'm so excited. My next reread is going to be A Strange Hymn by Laura Thalassa. This is the second book in the Bargainer series, so the first book is Rhapsodic. I'm reading this for my friend Sahar's book club, the Fanro Book Club, which is a fantasy romance book club, and I am co-hosting for this series, and so we haven't done our Rhapsodic live show yet, but I did read that one in January, and I had the absolute best time, and I cannot wait to get to this one. I remember this being my favorite in the series, I think, so I'm really excited to get to it. I just love it, and I'm just having so much fun rereading it, so can't wait to get to this one. I will leave Sahar's channel link down below if you want to join us for the Fanro Book Club. That would be awesome. The series is great, especially if you love fantasy romance. So yes, I'll be getting to this one. And then my last reread that I have like planned to do this month is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I meant to reread this in January, and I didn't have the time. But I will for sure be rereading it in February. There's like no excuses for me because I need to reread this so that I can get to the next book I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I read this when it came out back in 2019 and I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it and was highly anticipating the sequel, Hellbent, which came out in January, and I didn't want to jump into this one without rereading Ninth House first. So I need to reread Ninth House so that I can get to Hellbent. And yeah, I did mean to try to get to these in January, and I didn't, but I'm putting them on the February TBR because I'm so confident that I will get to them this month. Like, there's just no way that I won't. So I'm getting to these this month, so I've got to reread Ninth House so that I can go into Hellbent and see what's going on. All right, these next 2 books that I'm going to talk about, I've definitely put on TBRs before and just haven't gotten to them. And this is the month. If I don't get to these 2 books this month, I'm going to unhaul them. Now, listen, I'm saying that knowing that I will force myself to read these 2 books rather than unhaul them. Like, again, like I said with Ninth House and Hellbent, there is literally no way that I don't read these this month because I'm going to make myself. It's going to happen. I'm tired of having these books looking at me like, excuse me, why aren't you reading me yet? And I don't have a good excuse. So the first book is probably going to come to no shock to anyone, but that's Glow by Raven Kennedy. Listen, I was supposed to buddy read this when it came out in June of last year. June. Well, we put it off, Rachel and I, and we just kept putting it off. And I don't know, for some reason I like was just struggling with finding the motivation to read this book, and then I was like not in a super fantasy romance reading mood, and I just didn't want to pick this one up. And then I had convinced myself that I wanted to wait until the audiobook came out because I read the rest of the series on audio and I really liked the audio for it, and the audiobook didn't come out at the same time that this did. So I was just waiting for it to come out. Well, now it's out. And I have it. I mean, I got it right away because I was like, there's no way that I'm not reading this. So I have no more excuses. I need to get to this, and I'm tired of not getting to it. So I will be reading this. Mark my words. I will be reading this in February. It is happening, and that's the end of that. The next book is A Twist of the Blade by S.M. Gaither. This is the second book in the Shadows and Crowns series. So the first book is The Song of the Marked, and I read that last summer and I enjoyed it. It was a good time. And I bought this one, I want to say like pretty closely after that, like maybe in August, maybe in September I bought this, and I've just not read it. And I don't have a good reason for that. I literally don't have a good reason for that. So I'm going to get to it this month because I need to continue the series before I forget everything that happened in the first book. And then I'm like, well, now I have to reread the first book before I can continue the series. So I'm going to get to this month. I'm in a fantasy mood. If you can't tell from all of the books that I'm putting on here, I'm in a fantasy mood. And so this is happening and I'm really excited for it. I would also like to get to Children of Fallen Gods, I think is the name of it, by Carissa Broadbent, which is the second book in the War of Lost Hearts series. The first book is Daughter of No Worlds, which I read in January, really enjoyed, and kind of the same thing with A Twist of the Blade. I just want to continue the series before I like forget everything that happens, and I don't want to wait months and months and months to read it. So I'm going to pick up the second book. I'm going to read it this month. I'm really excited for it because I love Carissa Broadbent's writing, and I think that I really like where the story is going and where the characters are going, and I'm just excited to see more from this world and like explore more of the magic and stuff. So I'm very excited to get to this one. I don't own it yet, but I will. The next book is Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh, I think is how you say her name. This is like an OG kind of book. Like, this is one of Sarah J. Maas's favorite book series, and I've seen a lot of people picking it up recently. It came out, I want to say, in like the mid 2000s. I think this one was like maybe published in 2008, but it is a vampire romance. Listen, I honestly don't know very much about it at all. I just saw somebody post about it and say that they understand like that Sarah J. Maas was inspired by this book and how it's amazing. And even though it was written like several years ago, it still holds the test of time, and that if it came out now, it would be like blowing up all over the place. But because it came out so long ago, people aren't talking about it as much. And I instantly went and bought a copy. I got it on Pango Books. I haven't received it yet, but it is coming. And I will likely be reading this for the Romantasy Readathon. And I'm really excited about it because I want to read the books that inspire my favorite author. So I'm going to get to that one. All right, these next two are by far and away the most intimidating ones on my TBR. So this next one is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, which is the first book in the Witcher series. Listen, I love the Witcher TV show. Love it. It's so good. And so I want to read the novelization of it. Honestly, I can't remember. I think books came first, then video game, then TV show. Because it says the international hit that inspired the video game, The Witcher. And it just says, Geralt of Rivia is a witcher, a cunning sorcerer, a merciless assassin, and a cold-blooded killer. His sole purpose, to destroy the monsters that plague the world. But not everything monstrous looking is evil, and not everything fair is good. And in every fairy tale, there is a grain of truth. And that just sounds good. And I've heard that the books are like really, really good. And so I want to give it a try because I'm in a fantasy mood. And I borrowed this from Maggie's husband, John, who has yet to read the series, but he really likes the video game and the show. So I'm going to read this and I'm going to tell him if he should read it. So I'm going to read the first Witcher book. Okay, this last book. I don't even know how to talk about this book, honestly, because I'm going to have to eat some of my own words. I'm just going to hold it up. All right. If you're new here or you don't remember, I have this weird thing with Brandon Sanderson, and I don't fully understand it. I don't know why. I've not read one of his books before. I did attempt to read one of them and DNF'd it early on because I was very annoyed because it had one of my biggest, if not my biggest, pet peeve in books. And I just couldn't focus on the story, so I DNF'd it. But for years now, like, this is so dramatic, and I literally don't know why. I just have this feeling of, like, annoyance towards Brandon Sanderson's books and, like, Brandon Sanderson in general. Like, anytime people talk about his books, I'm like, ugh. But I don't know why. I've not read them. I bear no ill will towards this man. I have nothing. I don't understand it. I don't know why. I'm like fighting it so much, like reading his books. I don't know why. Because I have been told that I would love his books. And I genuinely think that I will love his books. So why? I don't know. I don't understand it. Anyways, that's like the backstory on that, like why I'm being so dramatic right now. But I'm picking up Warbreaker because Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader recently read this. It was her first Brandon Sanderson book, and she loved it and was raving about it. She gave it 5 stars, and I was like, is she really gonna convince me to pick up a Brandon Sanderson book? Because I was like prepared to swear him off like completely and never give him a chance. But no, she convinced me, and so I'm gonna read Warbreaker. And I really like this edition. I got it from Book Depository, and it came a little bit damaged, and I'm getting it replaced, but this is the copy that I have on hand at the moment. But I really like the white edition. It's very pretty. But yeah, could I tell you what this book is about? No, I could not. You can certainly go look up a synopsis online. I just know it's a fantasy, and that is all. First book in a series. Yeah. It says it's a story of 2 sisters who happen to be princesses, the god king one of them has to marry, a lesser god, and an immortal trying to undo the mistakes he made hundreds of years ago. And that, I mean, honestly, that sounds right up my alley. So, like, why have I been so resistant? I couldn't tell you. Like, if you can figure me out, wow. But I don't know. But I'm gonna read it. So there you have it. Those are the 10 books that I am for sure going to prioritize in February. Like I said, I have a whole list of many, many more books that I want to try to get to this month, but I'm not going to pressure myself to try to get to those. If I can get to them, I will. But that stack, that's what I'm shooting for. Let me know down in the comments what books you are prioritizing for February, and let me know if you've read Brandon Sanderson's books and what your thoughts are on them, because I'm genuinely curious. I'm excited. I actually am excited. I was, again, so resistant for some reason when I ordered it. I was like, oh, am I just gonna like make a mistake and unhaul it right away? But like, I am genuinely excited to pick up his books now. So don't talk me out of it. Talk me into it. Get me more excited. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can click like and subscribe if you want to help support me a little more, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.